Hello and welcome to Recyclist. It's March 2nd, 2026. I'm your host, Eric Provost, and this is your weekly roundup of all the biggest news stories from the world of waste, gas, and energy presented by Diamond Scientific. First things first, and as always, let's take a quick look at the stock market and several stocks on the move this past week from the world of waste, gas, and energy. Up across the board, going into this past weekend, Waste Management sitting at $239.49 per share. Republic Services Incorporated now up to $228.23 per share. GFL Environmental went into the weekend at $44.25 a share. Casella Waste hit $94.26 per share. Waste Connections up to $171.73 per share, and Montauk Renewables now at $1.56 per share. But moving into the news, first up, according to a study commissioned by the Minnesota Resource Recovery Association, municipal solid waste combustion facilities in the state appear to be destroying over 99.6% of per- and polyfluoroalkyl compounds, also known as PFAS chemicals. The study also found that PFAS levels released at the stack were below Minnesota's inhalation risk assessment level for 5 of 6 regulated PFAS compounds. The MRRA commissioned the study after the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency released its PFAS blueprint in 2021. The study used an experimental test method released by the EPA about 5 years ago to measure PFAS air emissions from stationary sources. And up next, according to new data from the American Biogas Council, investment in new U.S. biogas systems surpassed $2 billion in 2025, with 70 new projects coming online within the year. Industry-wide, biogas capture capacity rose 7.5% over the year to 780.7 billion cubic feet, with collectively the country's biogas facilities now producing enough power to energize 5.2 million homes per year. Patrick Surfass, the executive director of the American Biogas Council, said, quote, "Biogas continues to prove its value as a practical, scalable solution for America's energy and waste challenges. In an era of rising energy demand, increasing interest in domestic manufacturing, and the drive for energy dominance, biogas delivers the reliable, around-the-clock energy source America needs while reducing transportation pollution, improving our soil and food supply, and turning waste into valuable products." End quote. And up next, speaking of long-term investments, new numbers are coming out that show major public waste companies spent nearly $3.3 billion on mergers and acquisitions in 2025. This according to Waste Dive magazine. Republic Services led the way with over $1.1 billion spent just by themselves. Following them is Waste Connections, who spent over $800 million, GFL Environmental, who spent $700 million, Waste Management, who almost reached $400 million, and Casella Waste, who spent well over $200 million in mergers and acquisitions. Overall, the total spent is still a significant drop from 2024. However, that is largely due to Waste Management's blockbuster $7.2 billion Stericycle deal from November of that year. And speaking of mergers and acquisitions, it's been confirmed a subsidiary of Republic Services recently acquired a C&D landfill from Cornejo & Sons in Wichita, Kansas. It's the second landfill the company has acquired in the state following Republic's deal with Ham Sanitary Landfill in Lawrence, Kansas earlier this month. The latter is a municipal waste landfill for Kansas City Metro and has been in operation since the 1980s. On a recent earnings call, executives claimed Republic has already spent over $400 million in mergers and acquisitions in 2026, putting the company on pace to end the year well ahead of their industry-leading $1.1 billion mark from 2025. And just a quick reminder, Recyclist is a registered trademark of Diamond Scientific, an industry leader in gas analysis, instrumentation, and solutions. Make sure to visit them online at diamondsci.com. That's diamondsci.com. Or you can even set up a personalized presentation just by calling 321-223-7500. Now on with the news. This past week, the Environmental Protection Agency announced plans to revamp its Clean School Bus program to focus on a wider range of alternative fuels, including renewable natural gas, biodiesel, renewable diesel, and others. The program was created by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021, which provides the agency with $5 billion for fiscal years 2022 through 2026 to support the replacement of older diesel-powered school buses with cleaner models. The EPA published a notice in the Federal Register outlining several areas for stakeholder input. The agency is inviting public comments to inform its understanding of the availability of alternative fuels and associated technologies in the medium and heavy-duty school bus sector. And now moving across the pond for just a moment, Ireland recently announced 2.6 million euros in funding for 5 research teams developing technologies across biomethane, biohydrogen, and intelligent gas network management that could have potentially global applications. Among the projects are an AI-powered digital twin of Ireland's renewable gas infrastructure, a biogas methanization study looking to produce grid-quality biomethane using intensified reactors, an experiment looking at microalgae as a novel biomethane feedstock, an investigation into using nanomaterial-based processes for renewable fuel production, and scenario modeling for renewable gas integration across Ireland's future energy system. The country is pushing to fully decarbonize its energy system ahead of a 2050 climate neutrality target. But back in the U.S., more than 50 of Hawaii's leading agencies have organized, naming themselves the Coalition for Hawaii's Energy Future, and are calling for immediate action to lower energy costs by replacing petroleum with renewable energy. Among its members are Aloha United Way, the Hawaii Agricultural Foundation, and the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Collectively, they represent thousands of workers and families across the islands united in a shared goal of lowering electricity costs and strengthening grid reliability. Hawaii consistently ranks among the most expensive states in the nation for electricity, and according to recent data from the Energy Information Administration, the state actually has the highest average residential electricity price for the United States, roughly 39.9 cents per kilowatt hour, more than double the national average. And lastly, Calgren has completed construction of its first direct-to-consumer renewable compressed natural gas fueling station. Located in Pixley, California, the new station allows drivers to fuel their compatible vehicles with locally produced renewable gas made from dairy methane, providing a clean, sustainable alternative to traditional fossil fuels. Calgren CEO Travis Lane said, quote, "This station is about connecting the full circle of our work, producing quality feed for dairy cows, capturing methane that is traditionally released to the atmosphere from the dairies, processing it into renewable fuel, and putting it straight into vehicles on our roads." End quote. And that will do it for your March 2nd, 2026 News Roundup, brought to you by Recyclist, a registered trademark of Diamond Scientific. I've been your host, Eric Provost, and we will see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Recyclist. Thank you.